10 mods enter. Only one will come out victorious. It's time for Mod Wars. Mod Wars is filmed on location at Funshine Laboratories. Hey everybody, welcome back to Funshine Laboratories for another episode of Mod Wars. The last Mod Wars went very well. A lot of people really liked the concept, and so I'm definitely going to continue it. I'll try and do it as often as I can, but these builds do take a little bit of time, so forgive me if they're not out as often as you would hope. First things first, Cobblestone Mod Wars, the Cobblestone Generators, Extra Utilities definitely won my vote. It also won the Player's Choice Award, which is this little helmet, so it's got both trophies here. But there were also quite a few comments on things I missed or things that we can improve on, so I want to cover those just in case anybody isn't aware of some of the other ways you can do cobble generation. The first one, we'll just start with vanilla and ways you can improve the vanilla cobblestone generation. If you add a little bit of redstone and a piston, you can move the cobblestone away from the lava and have it, as the cobble generates, move it away, and then when you break it, you're less likely to lose the cobble, so that would improve vanilla scores. One mod that I did not have in the pack, but I do now, is Steve's Factory Manager, and it has a block called the Block Gate. And this you can actually put right next to the cobblestone in a cobblestone generator, vanilla cobblestone generator, and pull the cobble out very fast, very quickly. It's on par with actually Extra Utilities if you set the tick fast enough. Maybe not the way I'm going to show you, but the way I showed with just the straight up node there, transfer node. So yeah, so Steve's Factory Manager would have got pretty good score. But I did not have it in the mod pack yet. It is now, so we'll definitely add it for future Mod Wars. Engineer's Toolbox has another method besides the way I did with the block breaker. It's lava is lagged out there. You can use this lava intake module and put a source block of lava next to it, and that will actually generate cobble in the internal inventory, which you can pull out with an item output socket. So that's the other way you can do it with Engineer's Toolbox. It's not very fast, but you can actually stack 4 lava source blocks around it with 4 lava intakes and make it a little bit faster. Someone in the comments asked me to add Rotary Craft to the pack. I don't know much about Rotary Craft. I got into it a little while ago when it was like alpha and didn't work very well. I know Bevo does a ton with Rotary Craft, so I've watched his videos and seen it, but personally I haven't. So I'm not sure exactly if you can use Rotary Craft for a cobble generator. The 2 blocks that looked like it may be possible, but I'm not sure. The Bedrock Breaker, I don't know if it can break cobble or it only breaks bedrock. Somebody can probably comment on that, let me know. And then this guy is the I don't even remember the name of it. Let's see, I can find it pretty quick though. It's kind of like it's the boring machine. So it's pretty boring. I wish it'd be a little bit more fun, but no, just kidding. It's like the Railcraft bore, tunnel bore. But I'm not sure if it could be used as a standard cobble gen. Maybe, who knows. Thermal expansion, we use 2 entries. It actually turns out it has a third way, and that is with this Terrain Smasher. It has no interface. It just whatever you put in front of it, it breaks. It doesn't need to keep putting in a diamond tool like the Autonomous Activator did. The reason I used the Autonomous Activator for that one was because of the popularity of Agrarian Skies, and the Autonomous Activator is used a lot. So I did want to feature that as one of the methods. And the final one is the Extra Utilities upgrades. You can put these mining upgrades inside those little 4 slots here. Let's go in this room and see, let me in, how much this improves this guy. So let's just start with, let's start normal, turn him on. There he goes, let's get 1 per second or so. Put a few more in there. Now he's doing like 11 at a time. Let's put like more than half a stack in there. Now he's doing a stack at a time. Do we dare put a full stack? Looks like a full stack is about the most you can get at a time. But that's still pretty fast. Nobody's going to come close to that. So you can see we've filled up this barrel in just under a minute. So pretty cool. Definitely if you want super fast, efficient cobble, get the upgrades recipe for these guys. is just some iron and some blue dye. Pretty easy, or lapis. Pretty easy to make, and you get 2 for that. So it is going to drain your cobble a little bit, or I mean your iron, but you're going to get tons of cobble. Okay. Anyway, that's extra utilities. So I think that's it for cobble. So let's move on to the next Mod Wars. Here we go, guys. For this week's Mod Wars, we will be featuring tree farms. We will go ahead and find the fastest, the best, the most efficient, the cheapest way to chop down trees. Let's meet our contestants for this week. The first we have Vanilla in the blue against Applied Energistics, orange. I'm not sure how that's going to work. Purple, we've got Computer Craft, Thermal Expansion in red. Forestry in yellow, Rotary Craft in cyan, pink for Mine Factory Reloaded, green for Thaumcraft, Steve's Carts in brown, and Buildcraft in black. Alright, let's see how these mods stack up. In today's Mod Wars, all the mods will be judged on 5 categories. The first is speed, and this is judging purely how fast they produce wood. I'm not taking into effect if they can apply bone meal or that kind of thing, because that really you can apply bone meal automatically using a number of different mods, so I'm strictly on speed here. The cost is going to determine how difficult it is to craft this, how much material it takes, how much time it takes to make it. Automation is basically how difficult it is to set it up and then leave it and let it run. Do you require to check it every once in a while? Do you require any upkeep? You know, are you required to refill it, restock it, that kind of thing? Difficulty score is new this week, and that's basically how difficult it is to set it up. Are you going to need to just, basically build the blocks and set it up? No problem. Or you need to consult a wiki, go watch a ton of YouTube videos to figure it out, and that's how we get the difficulty score. And the last one is always the one that I just judge purely off how much I like using it, and that's the coolness factor. Basically, is it unique? Is it rare? Do you see everyone building it, or maybe is it really just fun to watch and work with? So that's the coolness score. We'll tally all those up, average, and we'll find a winner. Alright, first up we have Vanilla. Let's go ahead and go on in. Alright, so as you know in Vanilla, if you first start the map, let's go into game mode survival here. There we go. You can punch a tree, right? That's the generic way to get get wood. Whoops. Pretty slow, and you get a little bit of wood, and nothing automated about that, right? But we always have to start with Vanilla just to see get a baseline and see how we compare. So we have a wooden axe, that makes it go a little bit faster than punching, right? And you can upgrade all the way through stone, iron, gold, and finally diamond, and that's going to be your fastest way. There are other axes added by other mods. And if you have some mods, I think it's believed Thaumcraft, it makes leaves decay super quick when there's no wood attached to it. And then you simply place another sapling there and you wait for it to grow. You can improve the speed on that using bone meal, obviously. And you can make it grow. There you go. And you chop it down again. So that's our vanilla tree farms. You guys are probably going to go, wait, Funshine, there is a better vanilla way to do tree farms. And yes, there is. But it involves a insane amount of knowledge of redstone and pistons. You can create this whole contraption using all these double extended pistons that push the wood around and can destroy the leaves and store the wood in this big, huge cube that you can later chop down. That's great and all, but it's way too advanced for me in Redstone. You guys know that me and Redstone do not get along. I'd much rather just play mods. But do note there is a way, there's many tutorials on the internet of how to do a vanilla tree farm that's a little bit more automated than what we just saw. But anyway, we've got our baseline, we've seen how vanilla did it. Let's give vanilla its marks. So speed varies greatly based on the axe you have, so I'm only going to give it 2 paws. As far as crafting costs, you could really use wood if you wanted to, so 4.5 paws there. The automation, you got to apply the bone meal yourself and chop it down, so only 1 paw. As far as difficulty, is not difficult at all. 5 paws for there. And coolness, not at all cool, so 0 paws. Alright, next up we have Thermal Expansion, making another return from last week, and let's see how it does it. We've got very similar here. Hey, wait, that's not Thermal Expansion, that's a computer. What's going on here? Well, let's look at this, how it's actually all working. We've got a sapling on the dirt. In here we've got, wait, that's not Thermal Expansion either. What's up with this? We're using Autonomous Activator. This one is planting the saplings just with a right click whenever it needs it. This one, we're going to take a little bit of bone meal and put that in there when I'm ready. and that's going to bone meal the tree. And this guy here, he's got a high redstone signal, and somehow I need to tell him when the tree has grown so he knows when to cut it down. Otherwise, he's just going to keep breaking the sapling over and over and over again, and that's not going to be cool at all. So basically, that's the reason for the turtle. There's plenty of other methods for determining if a tree has grown. They're block update kind of blocks, or even in vanilla. But the easiest way, since that really isn't part of the tree farm, I just used a turtle. He's just constantly comparing what's in front of him to an oak wood block. When it is, he's outputting redstone signal to the right, which gets passed to the autonomous activator here, telling it to go ahead and chop it down. In this one, you could use a number of axes. Any axes that will do a chop an entire tree will work. So you've got the Thaumcraft axe, you've got the Awakened Icorium axe, you've got the Redstone Arsenal axe. There's a couple of other ones. Anyway, you don't want to just put a straight up vanilla type axe in here. It'll only just chop down one block, obviously. So let's go ahead and do that. So we'll go ahead and put the bone meal in there. Let me give it a few. He's going to need a few more. And as soon as that tree grows, there you go. The computer craft will tell this guy to break, and it broke it all. There it goes. And it planted the new sapling there, and he's out of bone meal again already. There it goes. Break it. Boom. This is pretty quick. Look how fast it is, you know. But the problem here is thermal expansion really isn't doing much of the tree farming. The only part it's automating is the placement of the sapling, the bone mealing, and then using whatever tool you have. So you need some other mod or method of determining when the tree is grown, and you need some other special axe to know when to chop the tree down. And then here I've just got a vacuum hopper, because obviously these guys don't pick up the blocks when they chop it down. They just make a mess. Hopper's going to pull them out and put them into various chests. So here's the marks for thermal expansion combined with a few other mods. Right, so if you can detect when the tree grows and chop it down with a cool axe, you're going to get pretty fast. So 4.5 paws there. Crafting cost, there's a lot that goes into this, and it's not all thermal expansion. It's only 2 paws. Automation, it works pretty well, so I'm going to give it 4 paws. Difficulty, it is pretty difficult to set up and get the right items to use. So 2.5 paws there. And coolness, it's average 3 paws. Alright, our next mod in this Mod Wars is Computer Craft. We'd have to use Computer Craft, right? Well, it's a very, very simple way to do a tree farm with Computer Craft. Here we go. I've got a felling turtle, and he's just going to sit next to this tree, and when I turn him on with this little lever, he's going to chop down that whole tree, come back down, put all his wood in this little chest, and plant the sapling. Let's see how he works. In here I've got a stack of bone meal, a stack of saplings, a stack of wood. We'll look at the programs. I've got one called LJ, which is Lumberjack, and you see he's just going to sit there and wait for me to turn him on. Once I turn him on, he'll compare what's in front of him to this wood block. He's going to go all the way up until he sees the sky or nothing. Well, he's already come back down. He dropped off his wood, come back around, apply some bone meal, and he's off. This Lumberjack program will keep working no matter if he runs out of bone meal or not. I didn't include a system to put bone meal in him. You would need to do that on your own using some kind of mod form or some way to get bone meal. But you can see this is very quick. He's going to go chop it down, bring it down, and then put it back in here. The other thing is turtles do use fuel if configured to do so. So every time he moves, he's using a little bit of fuel. So you're going to want some way to take a little bit of this wood and either turn it to charcoal and let him use that as fuel, or just directly use the wood that he has in here. And so I'm going to go ahead and turn him off here, so next time he comes down we can look at the code. Skip ahead a few minutes if you don't like Computer Craft code, but it's actually very small, so shouldn't be too bad. Let's go ahead and look at Lumberjack. There we go. So I first telling him which slot each thing is located. So bone meal slot 1, saplings 2, wooden 3. The first thing I run an infinite loop. If he has something in the 4th slot, it's obviously going to be wood because he doesn't collect anything else other than wood. Then I'm going to go ahead and turn around twice. Select the 4th slot, drop it into the barrel, turn around 2 more times so he's now facing the tree again. Then I'm going to get the redstone input from the left, which is this lever. And if it's on, then we know we should go ahead and see if we have a tree. So we're going to select the wood slot, which is slot 3. If that compares to what in front of us, then that means the tree grew. So we'll go ahead and dig it out, move forward. We're going to do a loop up until we don't detect anything above us. Then we're going to loop back down until we detect the ground. Back up, select the saplings, place one, and return. If there's nothing if it's not wood in front of us, then it's just a sapling. We're going to select the bone meal and place the bone meal, which will apply bone meal. If for some reason we're out of bone meal, it'll try to do turtle.place and not do anything, and just select the wood again. And then it's just going to sleep a little bit, and then try it all again. So he's going to run pretty much forever until he runs out of fuel, if we don't provide him a method to get fuel. But we can go ahead and keep him running. Another thing about this is he does not collect the saplings or the apples, so you're going to need some kind of vacuum hopper or some other method to get those. Turtles do have a suck command, but that only sucks around right in front of them or below them, so the saplings that fall outside of here are going to get lost. So definitely going to want a method of collecting the saplings. One common method is to put water underneath here and have it flow into just a vanilla hopper, so you can store them that way and then route the saplings back into his inventory. So that's it for Computercraft. Let's see the marks. So the turtle is able to cut down the tree pretty fast, so I give him 4 paws for that. The cost, you do take 3 diamonds, so I'm going to give it 4 paws as well. Automation, set it and forget it really, other than keeping the chunk loaded for 4 paws. Difficulty, you do have to know how to write some code, so we'll give it 3 paws there. And coolness, it's pretty cool to watch that turtle cut down the tree, 4 paws. Alright guys, next up we have forestry. Let's go on in and see what it has to do. Wow, this is a lot of blocks. And yes it is. Forestry is a ton of blocks here. You can actually expand it, or this is one of the smaller ways you can do. Actually the smallest that you can is a 3x3x4 of this farm block. You're going to definitely want to visit the forestry wiki, because I'm not going to cover everything there is to know about the forestry farm blocks. Such as the other configurations, but I've got a 4x3, and that can plant a ton of saplings. It can actually go out all the way to the edge of this room. I've just kept a little bit more compact so that I can actually show you guys how it works. Up on top I've got a couple blocks. Let me go into creative right here. There we go. And you can see that I've got the farm valve, which is how you put water in. So you are going to need some water, and I've just used a creative tank, but you can use any method you want of generating water. You are going to need a little bit of power. So here I've got another creative energy cell, but you can use your power plant, whatever you've got, to go into the gearbox. You can see, even though it's turned off right now, which is this farm control, it does use a little bit of power. Just it leaches out. It's very small. It's like 10 RF per tick, or maybe even less, maybe like 1 or 2. And then you've got one more special block, and that is this one, which is the farm hatch, and that's how you get items in and out. So let's go ahead and look at what's inside here. We are going to need to supply it dirt, so let's put some dirt in here. Oops, that's hardened dirt. That's not going to work. There we go. So put some dirt in there, and you're going to see that that's going to replace this sand with humus. You don't need to craft the humus anymore as you used to in forestry. It automatically crafts it now using the dirt you put in here and the fertilizer. So you're going to get a little bit of sand as an output, but you're going to have to constantly give it a little bit of dirt one time every time a tree grows, and the fertilizer goes quite a long way. You can see I've got 20 stacks of wood, and I started with a full stack of fertilizer. So that fertilizer is going to last you a long time, but it isn't. It's a little bit difficult to find. You're going to go mine some apatite or do some other complicated methods. Any sapling that harvests will go back into this slot to fill it up. Any extra saplings you see will go just in the output slot, and you can grab them. So let's go ahead and go down here. One thing cool is it will use pretty much any sapling there is. So I'm using forestry apple saplings to get more apples out of it. That's pretty cool. It's definitely a benefit. Here I've got just redstone ignored item duct to bring out the items out of the hatch. So that's pretty much all there is to it. Once you learn how to configure the farm block, it's pretty easy. You just set this guy and forget it, turn him on, and then he goes. So let's look at the marks for forestry. So this multi-block structure does cut down trees pretty quickly, so 4 paws there, although it does take a lot to craft and to build, so only 3 paws. Automation requiring power, water, fertilizer gives it down to 3 paws there. Difficulty, you're going to probably need to use the wiki, but I'll give it 3.5 paws. And as far as coolness, yeah, it looks pretty cool, so 3.5 paws there. Okay guys, here's one from Applied Energistics. Unfortunately, it's not complete, because I couldn't really make it work. But anyway, you've got up here that same block we used before in the cobble generator, which is the transition plane. And basically what you would do is you would plant a tree and then use some kind of piston system to push the logs up into the transition plane. And then probably using sand, and then once it's done, the sand would drop back down. And then you would just repeat that over and over again. I was thinking about using a Tinker's Drawbridge to remove the dirt out of the way. I thought that would be a cool method, but I didn't complete this one. So if you guys like to finish that one, you can, but I know it is possible, so we'll go ahead and grade it and give it marks based on what I know will work. I just couldn't do myself. So if you can detect when the tree is growing, it should be quick to cut it down, so 3 paws. The crafting cost, very hard to justify crafting this for a tree farm, so just 1.5. Automation, hey, if you can get this set up and working, it would work pretty well, so I gave it 3.5. Difficulty, it's going to be pretty difficult to make it work, so only 1 paw. And coolness, I would love to see this in action, so 4 paws. Alright guys, another mod making its first entry into Mod Wars will be Rotary Craft. This has got a very slick tree farmer. Yeah, anyway, this is called the... Oh, I'm going to forget it, so I better go look it up just so I don't say the wrong thing. If we can find it in here, it's called the Woodcutter. The Woodcutter is a pretty cool block. If we hold shift, we can see that it takes 16 kilowatts of power and 64 newton meters of torque. If you haven't used Rotary Craft before, that probably means nothing to you. But Rotary Craft works on, generating power, but then based on the amount of torque you apply, it will either increase the speed or the overall torque of the machines. And certain machines require different amounts of speed and different amounts of torque, and you saw that one had a torque requirement. I'm not going to go in and go into how you generate the power, and so you can see in this one I'm just using a creative coil so that I can type in whatever I want. And the minimum you're going to need here is 256 rad per second on the speed and 64 newton meters on the torque. So we'll leave it that. And now if you look at this, it says operation time 0.35 seconds. So basically it's going to harvest 3 blocks, almost 3 blocks a second, which is very fast. And I can actually boost this up. So if I go up to 1024, you can see now we're at 0.05 seconds. So it's basically 1 per tick, a block per tick. Holy crap, that's a lot of blocks. The downside to Rotary Craft, as far as I can tell, is there's no method to bone meal this tree. So we're going to have to do that on our own. There might be a fertilizer that I just don't know about. Put it in the comments and I'll cover it in the next episode. Go away, bone meal bag. But anyway, as soon as we bone meal this guy, go, come on. Is that not bone meal? Oh, what is that? I don't know what that is. Bone meal charcoal? Here we go. Got a space in between. Look at how fast this guy goes. Whoosh. That's pretty crazy. Alright, so you can see it does automatically place the sapling back. When it destroys a tree, it will store an internal inventory of saplings. I'm not sure exactly how many it keeps in its inventory, but once you get a bunch in there, it's pretty much going to run forever. It's a little bit like the very first time you set it up. Sometimes you build a tree and no saplings drop, right? And so it wouldn't be able to replant the sapling. However, there is a way you can enchant this guy by taking a book that has the enchantment on it and right-clicking on him. I didn't take the time to make an infinity enchantment book to show that, but it is possible. Once you do that, he'll never ever run out of saplings. You don't have to worry about it. And then you can see he automatically puts all of his output into the chest below him, and then I'm just using some item ducts to put them into some barrels. You can't turn him off, but you can turn the power off, right? And if we turn that off, it's slowly going to wind down and turn off. Pretty cool. All right, so that's Rotary Craft. If you don't know how to do the power generation, I encourage you to go watch Bevo's videos or some of the other tutorial videos on Rotary Craft because it's just too much for me to explain. Another bonus you get here is it generates sawdust, which has quite a few uses, including like paper or turning it into wood. So you kind of get some bonus wood there. And I also showed that it is possible for this thing to cut down other types of trees. It definitely works well on rubber trees. So let's go ahead and put one of those in there. Cuts it down nice and fast, and you can see it had no problem replanting the sapling, and you can see we got the raw rubber out of that. So pretty cool. Let's look at the marks for Rotary Craft. So given enough power, and the speed is incredible, so I gave it 4.5 paws for that, although the cost is pretty heavy because you're going to take a lot of steel to build a block plus the power requirements. Automation, set it up and it works great, especially with the ability to enchant the block to never lose saplings. Difficulty, it's pretty difficult to build. You need a wiki or a couple videos to figure out how it works, and coolness, not a lot of people doing it, so it's pretty cool. Alright guys, we're getting towards the end of the hallway. Next up we have Mine Factory Reloaded. In here, oh my goodness, this is a big grouping of trees. Well, we got brown trees up there. I don't know how that happened. That's really weird. Anyway, when I built this guy, I tried to go solely on MFR modded items, meaning conveyor belts, MFR power generation and everything. And it turns out it's just really not possible to do this with only MFR. There is a slight bug in one of the items that I'm about to show you. And conveyor belts are very difficult to route things. Basically, this guy's going to be dropping, the harvester's going to be dropping saplings and wood out the back. And you got to say, well, I want all my saplings to go back and be planted. If there's extras, then you can put them in a chest. But then put the wood in the chest, and it's very difficult to route the items. The item router itself is a little bit buggy and very difficult to work with. But anyway, let's go with this. You can see that there's a little bit of thermal expansion in here, and I'll explain that as I go. So, can we chop down these trees so it's a little bit easier to see? Where's the power? There we go. Okay. Go ahead and cut these down. Oh, that's a bone mealer. Are you out of power? Is that why you're not working? You are out of power. Okay. We go downstairs and give this guy a little bit of a kickstart. Here. There we go. So let's put some of that in there. I will be back to explain that. I just wanted to get some of this madness out of the way. All right, he's getting powered again. I think it just wasn't producing very much power. But anyway, so you can see how this works now. The harvester we have here is going to harvest any tree in a 3x3 area. And one thing cool about that is if you have a tree here and you also have like a tree way over here and their leaves connect, it will actually spread and harvest this tree too. So you kind of don't need to have a lot of harvesters to harvest a huge forest almost. But there is ability to upgrade the size that a harvester can harvest. The other block I have here is a fertilizer, and if you just give it bone meal and say go, it's going to apply fertilizer to a 3x3 area as well. Alright, and you can see it has no problem. Different kinds of trees, they're all working. I've got spruce, vanilla, oaks, birch, and rubber saplings all together. So that's pretty cool. You can see them all going up there. Down here, this block is the planter, and this is a little bit more complicated, but you put the supply here. I've just added some cobblestone just so it only stores 1 stack of each. I don't need it to store 16 stacks. And then here I configure what I want planted. So I'm saying these 3 rows are going to be oak, these 3 birch, 2 rubber, and 1 spruce. And you can see that gets matched right up there, like looking at that way. Okay. The harvester itself is going to throw items out the back, so you either need a chest here or some kind of ductwork to grab your items. They're going to come back here. I've said go ahead and put my saplings in here. Saplings are the only thing that will go in there, so you don't have to servo that. And then I've also said, okay, well, as you're coming by, put the rest of the saplings into this guy, which is the bioreactor, which is how MFR generates power. You put any kind of plant material in there, and it generates a little bit of power. Not a ton, as you saw. It was quite low, so let's put those all in there. And it's not really sustainable. Just leaving this guy running with all 3 blocks, the harvester, the fertilizer, and the planter, you can't get enough saplings just based on the bioreactor. And you also need the biogenerator. So the bioreactor only puts out some biofuel, which then burns in the generator to make power. You can see that's dropping very quickly. And we're not even doing anything, right? It's just sitting here doing nothing. So yeah, it's definitely not a sustainable system using this method. You're better off burning your wood and get some charcoal and then supplying them with some kind of generator using the charcoal. So again, MFR, you've got a very good system for both planting, harvesting, and fertilizing, but your power gen is a little bit going to knock you down on your score because you can't do it from your own mod, and you do leech power even when you're not doing anything. So this is going to be the marks for Minefactory Reloaded. So this tree farm is very, very fast, especially with a tall tree like a jungle tree. So 4.5 there. Crafting cost, a little bit above average, 3.5. The automation score has dropped down to 3.5, mainly because of conveyor belts, but the tree farm itself is pretty easy to build, so the difficulty I gave it 4. And then the coolness, I really like the way this one looks, so I give it 4 paws for that one as well. Alright guys, here in the green corner we've got Thaumcraft, its first entry into Mod Wars. Oh my goodness, what are these eyes? These are all golems. Look at them all go. They're pretty cool. So we've got golems here. You don't need this many, and they don't need to all be thaumium, so you don't need to comment on that. I've overkilled it a little bit to show you this. But anyway, we've got a chest here, and both the this guy here, if I can look at his chest, he is a collector, so he collects anything on the ground and he'll put it in that chest. This guy here is a user, so he's going to take items out of the chest that I've told him to, which are saplings, and he, let me get a bell real quick, which is the item you need to tell these guys what they need to do. There we go. So you can say that he's set to these 3 patches of dirt to put saplings on them. Pretty easy. This guy here, it doesn't have anything other than he's going to put items in the chest. And this guy's a chopper. He has really nothing to do other than chop any items down that are near this chest, right? Over here, we've got a user, and he's got bone meal. So you can see here, he is set to get his bone meal out of his chest and apply it to these 3 blocks. The problem is he doesn't know when to apply it. Sometimes he applies it when there's a sapling there and it grows. Otherwise, if there's wood there, he'll just try and keep applying it, and he'll fail. He won't use it, but he won't move on to the next block. There's no round robin system. He'll just be stuck here trying to bone meal a tree. Doesn't work. And then these guys, rather than using item ducts to put the items in, I've actually used Thaumcraft's sorting method, which is golems. These guys you can see are called input, or I can't remember what that core is. If you want to know how to make golems and give them jobs, they're going to have to watch my Magic Bear series or a tutorial on Thaumcraft. But anyway, these guys are each set to fill this inventory from this chest. Pretty easy. They know what to fill based on their little slot here. And I've told them put any amount in there, not a specific amount. Pretty cool. Alrighty then, so what we need to do to start this off is, I guess, give them some saplings to plant. So let's put those in there, and you can see he's getting... Oh, no, don't take my saplings! Bad guy. This guy needs them. So let's, you stop getting him from here. No. Dude. I can't select that because that guy's in there. There we go. Okay. So he'll stop grabbing the saplings. Are you ready, dude? You got him? Come on. Go grab a sapling. Come on. There he goes. That's one thing about the golems. They're a little bit slow. Once they've got their job, they're fast. But you can see now it's ready to go, and the chopper man is just standing there like, oh yeah, I have a tree to chop. So he chops it, and you can see the bone mealer went over and tried to bone meal. But the chopper, he's going to chop down the whole tree, and you can see that guy went and grabbed all the wood, the gatherer, and now this guy's going to grab the wood. Oh no, he got trapped on the opposite side. This is a block to prevent the golems from running out into the hallway and chopping down the other things. This might be dangerous, but let's see if I can do that. There we go. Alright, he's back in the saddle. You put the wood in there. So these guys are pretty automated. One thing you do need to worry about is they are entities, so skeletons and zombies and creepers attack them. So you want to make sure they're safe using some iron golems or keep them inside a well-lit building like this. They are expensive to make. Again, you don't need thaumium golems. You can get away with some of the cheaper golems, but they're not easy to make. What are you trying to give me a sapling? Oh, you're so sweet. I don't know what he's doing. Oh, this guy fell off again. So I think I've put these blocks just in the bad spot. Here, go that way. Come on. Here you go. Nope, close the door. I don't want them running into the other rooms here. There he goes. Anyway, so that's how this all works for Thaumcraft. There's another method in Thaumcraft used by one of the Minecrackers that used a arcane boar to cut down trees. That's a lot more complicated. You have to be able to detect when the tree's grown and then turn the boar on and cut it down, and be careful you don't cut too much down and that kind of thing. But it is a viable method if you can get the mechanics worked out. So I did want to mention that, but this is the main method for tree farming with Thaumcraft, is using golems. So let's look at the marks for Thaumcraft. Speed's a bit low because you got to wait for these golems to go out and harvest everything, so 3.5. Crafting cost, not a lot of materials, but it's going to take you a while to craft it, so only 2.5 pause there. Automation, it works pretty well, but you got to watch out for those golems, they might die. And difficulty, it is pretty difficult to get all the research done to get this happening. Lastly, coolness, this is the coolest way to do tree farm, so 5 pause. Alright guys, the last mod in the hallway here that we're going to cover is Steve's Carts. This is another mod I just added to the pack, and you can see quite a lot of things going on here. But this is one of my favorite personally, which is the Steve's Carts minecart tree farmer, tree logger, whatever you want to call them. Anyway, if you've seen Steve's Carts before, this will probably look very simple and not be too much information, but if you're new to it, basically what you have to do is come over to this cart assembler. You have to pick a type of minecart, and there's various tiers. You give it an engine, you give it the tool, which is going to be the wood chopper. You put attachments, how much storage you want it to have, and then any add-ons that you want to give it. So the guy that I have, he is the strongest tier that you can make. The Galgadorian hull, Galgadorian tree cutter. He's got some storage on his sides. He's got an engine in the back that burns coal. I've given him some upgrades so he can plant exotic trees. I've given him a smelter and a fertilizer. So quite a bit of things going on. But here's the basics of it. You're going to put him down, you're going to give him some fuel in his engine, and he's going to turn on and go, right? He's then going to drive around, and he plants dirt in specific ways, and you can't alter that. So I had this whole room dirt, and then based on where he put the saplings, I put the orange blocks back in. But that's where he plants, and then when it grows, he chops it down. Fertilizer, you just put some bone meal in there. This will fill up. He doesn't grow them much faster than normal, but it is a little bit faster. I don't know if it's worth it. And then here, the woodcutter, any saplings that he gets are going to go in the chests, so remember that. Also, the wood is going to go in the chests. And when he reaches this special mine track here, if he leaves, called the Advanced Detector Rail, he's going to stop, and the cargo manager is going to tell him when to go again. This is a pretty complicated interface, so you might want to go look at a tutorial on how to set this up. But for a tree farm, it's really easy. You can just set it all on red, which is the side. Get out of the way, dude. Move. 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 Come on. There he goes. So this is the red side touching that detector rail, so that's why it's all configured to be red. And I'm saying take everything in your storage and put it into the cargo manager. Next, take anything that can fit in an engine out of the cargo manager and put it in the engine. Anything that can go in the sapling slot, out and put it in the sapling slot. And then any bone meal, put the bone meal in. So he kind of puts everything in and then takes out the things he needs. Pretty cool. And then here I'm pulling out wood. And it goes into there, and apples. There he goes. You can watch him cut it down. He cuts all the leaves and the wood. You can see those go in here. And this thing over here, the advanced smelter, is really cool and pretty much necessary for a tree farm unless you want to make it a lot more complicated. What I've done here is I've said, cut down, or any oak wood that's in your chests, go ahead and burn it into charcoal. And I want you to always have 32 charcoal in your engine location. And it'll basically take its wood out of chests, it will burn it into charcoal, and automatically put it into the engine slot, which is here. And you can see I've got 32 there. I've covered these 2 slots with charcoal just so he doesn't put any wood or saplings in there from when he goes by the cargo manager. But he should always have 32 charcoal in here, and then any extra wood he'll export during this phase, and it'll go into the barrels. So you can see he's been working pretty good for the last, I don't know, maybe half an hour, and he's got 17 stacks of wood. A couple downsides with this guy. He's a little expensive to make, and very timely to make. Once you put a good cart together and hit assemble, it takes a lot of fuel and a lot of time. Unless you have a creative slot like I did. But this guy, I think here, was maybe a 4-hour build if I wasn't in creative mode. So that's pretty crazy. The other thing is his tool has durability, so you're going to have to repair it unless you make the Galgadorian version, which does not need repaired. You can see here, it will never break. But you can watch this bar. When it gets down low, you have to fix it. But yeah, that's the only thing, other than being pretty expensive to make the Galgadorian tier, and having to repair the tools, and them taking a long time to make. You also have to keep giving it bone meal, but he is able to apply it across the trees, and he's completely automated. So here's the marks for Steve Karts. Alright, you get a lot of wood really fast for this, so I give it 4.5 for the speed. Cost, it takes a lot of material and a long time to craft, so only 1 paw. Automation, pretty much set it up, forget it, so 4.5 paws there. Difficulty, it's a little bit above average, so I give it a 3. And the coolness, I really like watching that minecart driving around chopping down trees, so I give it a 4.5. Alright guys, I know I said the Steve's Karts was the last mod in the Mod Wars, but I had one more door, and I couldn't think of another one to include. So again, put in the comments if I've missed one. But Buildcraft, I know it has a way to do this, but I couldn't make it work, and I didn't want to hold up anymore putting out the Mod Wars. So let's go in there, and I'm going to give this as a challenge to anyone that would like to make Buildcraft do a tree farm. You will get a special trophy with your head here. Just make sure in the comments you describe exactly how to make it. A screenshot or even a video would be the best. And make sure you include your in-game name for Minecraft so I can put your head as the trophy. Anyway, here we'll go in here, and basically what I know it involves is going down to bedrock and putting some dirt in there and using a quarry. And the quarry, you have to have some complicated redstone so that it goes and it cuts down the tree once it's grown. And then once it's almost about to cut down this dirt block, you put another block like right here. And he goes, oh, I have a block to go cut. And he comes up here and he cuts that block, and then he tries to go down, and then you put another block, and you just keep putting blocks here so that he never goes and cuts the dirt. And then once there's a tree here, then he goes and cuts down the tree. So this setup here is definitely wrong. I know that it's too low, obviously, for the tree, but I wanted to put it here just to issue the challenge. If anyone can make a working Buildcraft quarry tree farm, then let me know, and I'll give you a special trophy for that and recognize you in the next video. So that's your guys' challenge. Okay guys, that brings us to what you've been all waiting for, the tallying the results. The results are in. Who is the winner? The winner for today's Mod Wars Tree Farms is, and this was a very close margin, the winner was Mine Factory Reloaded, taking it by just a fraction of a point above Computercraft. Mine Factory Reloaded really relied on its speed and just plain not very difficult to set up. It did lose a few points, which allowed some of the other mods to come closer in its automation ability. Purely if you look at just using Mine Factory Reloaded on its own, it's very difficult to automate this. But you add a few other mods, and it gets rid of all those problems, and it makes it really easy to set up. MFR, you are the winner of Mod Wars Tree Farms. Congratulations. As usual, guys, you are also able to vote. If you think I got it wrong, if you think another mod deserves the title, go ahead and vote now in the comments below with what mod you think actually deserved to win, and that mod will win the player's choice. It can even be a mod that I didn't feature. If I miss something, let me know. It's common that I'm going to miss a mod out there that maybe has a way cooler tree farm than I just showed. So let me know in the comments, and I'll give the Player's Choice Award next episode. Next episode, I have not decided what it's going to be yet. It's all blank down there. Maybe it's bats. No, it's not going to be bats. That's another thing I need you guys to go to. If you look in the description of this video and annotated currently across the screen, you're going to find a link to a straw poll where you're going to go ahead and go there and vote on what Mod Wars you'd like to see next. You can suggest a new one if I haven't included in the comments as well. Alright guys, that's all the time we have for in this episode of Mod Wars. So if you watched this far in the video, I'm sure you enjoyed it, so why not hit that like button? It really helps me out. And if you want to see more Mod Wars and other things, hit that subscribe button as well. If you have any other things to say, put it down in those comments and I'll try and reply back as soon as I can. And I really appreciate you guys for watching my videos. We're closing out on a very large subscription number of 10,000. It's really blowing me away. So I'm trying to find something fun to do for that. Anyway, this has been Funshine X for Mod Wars. I will see you guys next time. Bye.